West Newport Beach here was kind of a focus of a south swell. South swell would break big and hard in Newport Beach. But the downside was it was just a big old flat bottom, sandy beach break bottom, and seldom did we have any good shape to it. It was usually just big old closeouts. Boom, nice size closeout. Boom, we better go surf Huntington. We better go surf River Jetty straight out here would sometimes have surf because we get bottom contour there because of sand that rolls out with the Santa Ana River when it flows in the wet winter times. But most of Newport Beach had no surf. We're living down at 39th Street, and the Army Corps of Engineers was having a problem with sand erosion on the beach here in Newport Beach. There were homes that were actually slabs hanging out over the water with 4 to 6 feet hanging over water at high tide because the sand's disappearing. So what they decided to do is build these groins, a groin. And a groin is like another word for like a jetty. Today you'll see the jetties out there. The first jetty or groin they built was steel pillars that they drove down into the sand, and they interlocked with each other in a fashion to where they built a wall out into the ocean. Those guys, not only did it make better surf, it made better surf the first stinking day. That thing got built out there, and the next day there's a left off one side of it, a right breaking off the other side of it, and Newport Beach, West Newport being nothing but a close out, wasted surf area, turned into a surf land. After they built the one on 40th, the next one they built might have been 46th Street. And then they built one at 36th Street, and they built one at 32nd Street, and they built one at 56th Street. And today we've got, I'm thinking, 8 jetties along there, and every one of those jetties, and they're all made of granite stone. Now, the granite rock, every one of those has got a surf break on both ends of it. It took the most wasted part of Orange County surf, wonderful size, horrible shape, and turned it into a surfing wonderland. The guys that live around here will look at the swell direction and the wind direction and know which one of those jetties to go to, and there'll be good surf there. And it was just a godsend to the surfers. Santa Ana River, as I mentioned, has always been a good surf spot because in the wintertime, sand flows out with the rainwater and builds sandbars, and those sandbars make shape of surf that's desirable surf shape. It's never been as popular as Huntington Pier because it's, hey, we don't have the parking that they got at Huntington Pier. But a couple of good things happen at Santa Ana River. It's always been good surf, but not very crowded out there in the early days, in my early days, which would be late 60s. But about 1969, they built a solid steel pier out there. One thing it did really well is a swell would roll up against that solid wall and stack up and then break away from it, and made an amazing right that broke off that pier. And it turned into a competition that who's the closest to the pier would catch that right. And you'd scrape your arms up, this arm up, paddling against that pier to be the guy closest to the pier to get that amazing right. And that was the good thing the pier did. The good thing, the pier made some amazing surf out there, and the pier lasted roughly 2 years. The project was a roughly 2-year. The bad thing it did is it brought attention to the Santa Ana River, and people came to surf that wave and learned where to park and how to get there, and it came on their radar as a good surf spot in Orange County, and so it crowded the place up, crowded up the Santa Ana River. When they subsequently tore down that pier and took it all away, the people never went away. They realized, hey, you know what? There's still surf here even when the pier's not here, which us guys that are locals would go, duh, there's been surf here forever. And so the crowd stayed, the piers went away. In the 70s, Echo Beach was featured in Surfer Magazine, an article called The Hottest 100 Yards, and it was at 54th Street here in Newport Beach. And it was Danny Kwok and Preston Murray and some other guys, and they were the leading vanguard for the clothing companies, Quicksilver in particular. And Quicksilver put them in fancy clothes and put them in the water, and photographers knew if they went to 54th Street And they got a photograph that Quicksilver had a big budget for running ads, and they had a good chance of selling so it fed off itself. The good surfers would go to 54th Street, and the photographers would go to 54th Street, because there was money to be made for the photographers and fame to be made for the surfers, and they fed off each other. And those guys in their own little insulated world were the top of the world for a couple of years there, for sure. I mean, nothing in San Diego, anything like that. Nothing in Santa Cruz, anything ever, or LA County, anything like that. Only Orange County. That was the Orange County's heyday, top of the heap, shooting star, burning bright. The whole world looked to Echo Beach in Newport Beach.